Well, hello, EK Nation. How are you? Rob Howden here, the editor-in-chief and publisher of eCardyNews.com. On my own here today, David Cole off on a bit of a holiday here before we jump into the second half of the season stretch. A Face2Face, another one, episode number 43. And this is a great one. I'm glad we can do this because obviously what happened last year with a number of races getting canceled, postponed, and then potentially canceled. One of those races were one of my absolute favorites and an absolute iconic event in North American karting. I'm talking about the Rock Island Grand Prix. Last year, the event put on hiatus for a season, but coming back now that COVID has stepped back and we're kind of out and rolling again. And, of course, motorsports did have a pretty solid 2020, but there were a number of events, especially a one like Rock Island where you're taking over the downtown core of a city where those COVID concerns a lot more great. And we get out to, some of those tracks we were at outdoors, it was able to happen, but a place like a street circuit, obviously not quite as easy. Joining me here today, I've got Joe Janowski from the National Karting Alliance and Roger Ruthart. Of course, any of you who have been to the Rock Island event before know all about Roger and his staff and what they've been able to do over 25 years. Again, you've heard David Cole and I talk about it a lot. One of our favorite racing events. Anytime we're there, we always try to find a way to drive something. I've been lucky to race with the Margay Ignite Challenge. Cole ends up getting in the Margay Ignite as well. Sometimes he gets a 2-cycle ride from someone here and there. I've run shifters there. I've run tag there. It's just a fantastic event. It's unlike anything else you'll do because it's a lot easier, more relaxed atmosphere. There's no Friday practice. It's a Saturday, Sunday, practice Saturday morning. We'll talk more about how they're going to approach it, but it's a really fun event in downtown Rock Island. So again, this is kind of a preview to a certain extent. It's Labor Day weekend. Let's bring Roger Ruthart and Joe Janowski in here. Guys, thank you so much for joining me on this edition of the Face2Face.
Hey, good to see you.
Glad to be here, Roger. Yeah. Good to see both of you guys. Roger, of course, longtime organizer, kind of leading the board there at the Rock Island Grand Prix. Joe, of course, that family's been around forever. It was a SCUSA race earlier in the its lifetime with Joe's father and mom, Don and Susan. Joe's raced there. I've raced there. Roger, let's start with you. It's back, first and foremost. That 1 year off must have been tough. I know that for an event, and let's just come out of the gate with this, how good it is to be back. Because one of the struggles, I'm sure, for you guys is always trying to find volunteer base to come out and be part of the action. When you have 1 year off, some of those volunteers kind of step away, don't they?
Well, it's not, yeah, absolutely. But it's not, when you take a year off, it's actually been 2 years since we raced.
True.
So, yeah. You lose track of a lot of people. People aren't in the sport anymore, or they've had kids or whatever, happens. But, for us, it's the volunteers, it's committee members, it's sponsors, it's new people with the city that we have to work with. It's working with Joe. I mean, there's all kinds of new things that literally, other than the fact that we have an organization, we have a lot of notes from what we did before, we're sort of starting from scratch again.
It's interesting you said 2 years because once you said it, I went, yeah, you're right. If it's an annual deal, it's been 2 full years since you guys have had one of those races, just missing the 1 year. Now, right. One of the big things that was going to happen essentially, or did happen for 2019 and was going to obviously be a front and center program in 2020 was the new relationship, kind of the evolution of the way the race is handled, the new relationship with Joe and the National Karting Alliance. Roger, talk about that a little bit. What were the motivations to seek out a partner in terms of race management, and then talk about how Joe and NKA seem to be the perfect fit for you guys?
Well, I think as any time, you've done something for 25 years, I'm quick to tell people I ran out of new, fresh ideas 15 years ago. So it is important for an event to keep it thriving, to have those input, those ideas, that energy, and all that sort of thing. At the same time, a lot of our committee members who've been doing this 10 or 20 years, we're all getting older, and we don't want more stuff piled on us. We want less, we want to take some of it off.
That's it.
Couple that with the fact that it's always been frustrating for us as a one-off event to try and sit down in December and January and figure out which classes are going to be popular, what the rules should be, which teams are going where in September. And because we don't have that ongoing connection with everybody, like you would in a series. And so we were looking for, people that could bring new ideas, bring the contacts, understand the trends in karting. And we talked to several people, but the best opportunity, the best option out there was Joe and his team at National Karting Alliance.
And I'd mentioned the heritage as well, right, Roger? Obviously, the Janowski name has been connected with that race for many years.
Oh, yeah, Joe's parents were probably as key an element to our success as I've been. I mean, way back in the day, everybody was bad-mouthing street races. Nobody wanted to insure them, all that sort of thing. And, it's still sort of a niche thing in karting, but
yeah, it is.
They were the ones that stepped up and said, well, we're going to do this. We're going to insure it, but we're going to do it right. And we went along with it with, first dragging all the hay bales around and then moving on to barricades, adopting a lot of the SCUSA thing when they were running SCUSA. So, I mean, that was just a good partnership through the years. And of course, Don was originally from Moline, so he grew up in the Quad Cities. So,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
awesome.
I mean, I just enjoyed working with them, and Joe raced back in the day. I mean, he was I don't know what, college age or something, and racing here, but
the Polish Hammer.
The Polish Hammer, baby.
Hey, so Joe, let's come to you then and talk about that synchronicity of you and your father, and you had the NKA, the insurance company with your parents had. Then you kind of stepped into that role. You've had that for a long time, so you did a connection to the sport. But most recently, you've gotten back in. You did some race direction, and of course, starting the Stars Championship program as well. That's what Roger needed, right? That connection to someone with their pulse on the sport on a regular basis, to kind of ease the direction of where the event wants to go each year.
Yeah, and somehow he ended up with me. So like when Roger said, we were looking for the really great person, I'm like, well, I wonder who that was, because somehow they got stuck with me. And it's as an aside before I even get into that, what I've learned over the last really 2 years, because there was a lot of discussions and a lot of meetings all the way through 2020. Are we going to have it, and what's it going to look like, and all that kind of stuff. But the volume of work that goes into this single event is akin to the Supernats.
Wow.
And I know what it takes to put on the Supernats.
Yep.
And it's a huge undertaking that takes an immense amount of people. All these people are doing it for free. So it's a volunteer kind of group. And, and then you bring me in. And where I come from, it's like once I stopped racing, I think, you and I talked about the last Face2Face I was on, this has given me more of that creative outlet, that way to stay really integrated in the sport a lot more than, a lot of people just kind of fade away. But, this is really what I do, and I'm really kind of excited. And NKA has our mission statement is preserve, protect, and grow the sport. And what better opportunity to actually go out and say, well, I'm not just going to put a mission statement out there and then just not do anything about it. This is a great way. When Roger and I started communicating about this, obviously we've been integrated in that race in some way, shape, or form since the very first Rock Island. Obviously, I've learned a lot in the last 4 or 5 years in terms of event production. Outside of event production, I think, it was one of those things where I had some cool ideas. Some of them we've done, some of them we're not going to do. Some of them I thought were good ideas, and as usual, were absolutely hideously terrible. And that's what happens when you have ideas and you put things out and people beat up on it and you see what's going to happen. I think one of the ones I'm really excited about is the addition of 2 new King races. Yeah. And so I was really now, and I have to preface this with, I'm the first king, right?
You are,
King of the streets.
King of the streets.
And I'm like, you know what? That's special to me. And, and it's one of those things where some people may not give a crap, but I do, because I beat Alan Rudolph to do it.
You did.
And that's not easy to do any day, much less when there's money on the line. Mm-hmm. So, and a title. Now, Alan, of course, went on to win multiples. I only have the one, but I'm the first. So take that, Rudolph, in case you're watching.
That's it.
So the addition of, and obviously we can't call it the King of the Streets, but the King of the Rock has such a cool connotation to it. I think it gives us a chance to do a new thing in an older and established historical event in karting. We can really kind of put some promotional focus there. So we kind of have a little place for everybody. Hey, you want to come in, you think you're the best guy in 206. Great. That's the race you need to be in.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to seeing how that grows. Because I can tell you, for those of you guys that don't know this stuff, in the sport, it kind of follows you, the king of the streets thing. And it's like a camaraderie you have. I make fun of Race Lebrante all the time. And I'm like, well, he's like, well, I'm the king of the streets. And I'm like, yeah, you're like the 26th king of the streets, buddy. So there's a little something, it means something to people.
It does.
And it's cool.
Let me add this, because this is obviously, I announced about 15 of these races, obviously, early on before I had to move on and do some other things on the Labor Day weekend. We pause our face-to-face broadcast for this quick commercial break. Stay tuned for more here on the EKN Radio Network. Fast, fair, and fun. Ignite Spec Karting offers you all of that at an affordable price. And the all-new IgniteKarting.com website provides you with the information you need to fuel your passion for kart racing. Ignite Karting is a spec kart that features the Margay racing chassis with a Briggs & Stratton 206 engine and a Hoosier R80 tire. Everyone in the junior, senior, and masters classes utilize the same Ignite K3 kart, which puts all the emphasis squarely on the driver. You can race the Ignite package from Margay at the local, regional, and national level. Special events for 2021 include the Ignite Majors, featuring events at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, Quincy Grand Prix, and Newcastle Motorsports Park. Those in the Midwest can enjoy the regional-based Ignite Challenge Series at tracks in Iowa, Missouri, Indiana, and Illinois. Local club programs have been established in Idaho, Texas, Nebraska, New York, Ohio, and Florida. All the information that you're looking for on events throughout the country and on all the Ignite kart packages, including dealers in your area, is available at IgniteKarting.com. Get off the couch and on the track this year. Ignite Karting. Fuel your passion. In racing, experience is priceless. Franklin Motorsports is a leader in the karting industry with over 50 years of combined karting experience, and we can provide you with everything you need to go racing. With a large online product selection, select track support events, and a wide variety of shop services, Franklin Motorsports is your complete karting source. Check out our online store at www.franklinkart.com, where all our products are just a mouse click away. We're constantly adding to the growing product selection on the online store, and we ship daily to ensure products get to you quickly. We specialize in IAME engines, Tillett seats, ceramic products, Driveline branded products, Briggs & Stratton engines, OTK products, and of course, the championship-winning Merlin chassis. In our online store, you'll find a variety of items to fill your karting needs. Franklin Motorsports is also known for our wide variety of services and is home to Innovative Engine Works by FMS, our in-house engine service department. Frame straightening, kart prep, and dyno testing are all services offered regularly at Franklin Motorsports. For all things karting, visit franklinkart.com. You can buy all the latest and greatest products on the market, but when you're karting to win, it boils down to one thing: you, the driver. Gain the knowledge and abilities by investing in yourself at the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy, and you'll find those extra tenths of a second you need to put yourself on the podium. The school was established by Superkarts USA Hall of Fame driver Alan Rudolph, with decades of victories and championships in multiple forms of the sport, including other disciplines of racing. The Alan Rudolph Racing Academy, located at the Speed Sports Racing Park in the metropolitan Houston area, is designed to teach driving skills at all levels. The instructors of the Academy have decades of racing experience and educating drivers of all ages. Classes at the Academy will teach the concepts and skills needed both behind the wheel and off the track. From the beginning kart racing experience and intro to karting courses, to their advanced 1-day and 2-day courses and karting clinics, the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy can improve the skills of any driver. For more information on the specific programs that the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy can provide for you, head to speedsports.com and click on the Racing Academy page. Be sure to follow the Academy on social media by searching for Alan Rudolph Racing Academy. Welcome back to Face2Face on the EKN Radio Network. The cool thing about Rock Island, I'll speak to everybody that's watching right now. I don't care if you're a 2-cycle racer or a Briggs 206 racer or a shifter racer. It's almost like there's those 3 different factions at the race where it's not like the 206 class is a support class. You know what I mean? It's this group like you're 206, you're the stars of 206, you're the stars of 2-cycle, you're the stars of shifter. Now it was always king of the streets with shifters. That's why I like the addition of King of the Rock, because it really does give that well-deserved respect and spotlight for the guys in 4-cycle and the guys in 2-cycle, because those races in both of those different unique disciplines to a certain extent are just as good as the shifter races, if not better.
You know, I mean, I've been racing some 206 this year, and obviously I produced the Stars series, so I get to see a lot of the KA drivers that are out there. Fantastic racers. I mean,
so good. Yeah.
You know, and like there's really good guys in 206. There's really good guys in KA. The racing is fantastic. I think it's going to be. I think those 2 races in particular, in addition to the King, I think they're going to be bonkers. I think you're going to see some guys really focusing on it, you know, because that's going to be a big thing in years to come. That's what we're going to be talking about. Can driver X, Y, and Z, can they come back, and can they do they have the ability to defend their title?
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm looking forward to that piece. You know, some of the other pieces too with Roger was just honestly sitting down and kind of going through the weekend, going through the classes, going, you know, these are what the emerging markets are. This is where we should be beginning to point the race at in terms of, you know, thinking more about 2 or 3 or 4 years down the road, as opposed to just like what's going to work this year.
Yeah.
Everybody here is committed to, you know, this race is going to go. I think entries are actually really good right now. You know, we've really amped up the social media for it. We've, you know, redone a lot. We've redone a website. We've, you know, we're implementing different things into this that, you know, I think most racers are going to enjoy. Some racers, of course, are going to be like, well, I liked it the old way. But, you know, we're going to come into it, you know, on my part, you know, the NK is really coming in and working mostly on the competition side. So classes, rules, staffing on that side, and I'll be there, not in any official like direct capacity, but I'll kind of be overseeing a lot of that, working with Terry Riggins, who's coming back. Roger, how many years has Terry Riggins directed that race? Like I'm pretty sure Moses was first and then Terry came in to race direct this race.
It's been 15 years, and it's certainly longer than any of our other race directors. So Terry knows the inner workings of the whole thing, and
he does.
The other thing I like about him is he really understands things from the driver's perspective.
Indeed. Yeah.
No, he does. And so I'll be working a lot with Terry, just kind of analyzing this particular. This will be my first year coming. Obviously, I used to race in it. I always had terrible luck at Rock Island, but I had a great race with Bobby Wilson one year in King of the Streets. I don't know if you remember that or not, Rob.
I do.
Anyway,
I like that. That's good.
I still talk about that race. It was wild.
That's awesome.
So, you know, but this will be my first side on the back end of the production side. And so really, from my perspective, I need to see where things are working, but we're introducing, you know, barcode scanning on the tires, you know, better ways to communicate with racers. We've got some new people coming in doing, you know, we kind of brought in some new kids to really kick up the entertainment factor it's hard to replace Rob Howden, by the way. I just want you to know that, like, as a promoter, it is extremely difficult because you're so good at creating energy and excitement. And so, you know, we've got Carter Pease and Roger, you're going to have to remind me of the other name.
Jake Hidwell.
There you go. So they're coming in, trying to give it some of that excitement. I'm reworking the schedule from previous years, and Roger and I are currently going back and forth on that, trying to make something a little bit newer, a little bit fresher, you know, get people playing track time, all that kind of stuff. So they're going to see a difference in terms of some signage. We're upgrading the signage for staff, those kinds of things. We're going to kind of like, shaving a haircut is what they call it, kind of like make it a little prettier while we're there, which are things that I've just picked up in the last few years on how to do that and how to place it. But the core of the group is still there. The core of what makes that race really cool is still there.
Let's grab a couple of quick comments here, because here's some old names coming up there for you, Janowski and Roger. How about Eric Nelson?
Holy smokes! Where did Eric Nelson go in
that
life?
Race, Eric Nelson. Scott Smith Racing says won't be able to make it this year, but hopefully we get back again. Here's one for you. Noah Stark says, when will we get Dave Mack announcing? Dave McIntyre, who's the voice of the Cup Carts North America series. He's got his own style, that's for sure. He'd be a lot of fun there as well. But you're bringing. Let's talk about that. You're bringing in a couple of new announcers to kind of change it up a little bit. Also, little DJ action I'm hearing, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, part of what we're really trying to do is keep the energy alive.
Yeah.
And so when there's breaks in the racing or during practice, things like that, we're just gonna. It's not going to be tuning into some random country western or pop rock station and just letting it run. I mean, we have a guy on our committee who's a DJ, and he's going to pick the songs that are going to keep people out of their seats.
I like it.
When there's no racing. So,
Roger, we'll get back to Joe. We'll talk a little. You gave me a list of a bunch of stuff. Let's talk about some of the stuff that's around the festival side, right? Joe's handling the competition side. You're focused a lot on the festival side of it. It is a tough time, and I know that COVID's still not totally shut down, as we know. A lot of the restaurants and stuff, and that's one of the things about Rock Island: the restaurants, the entertainment. There's a lot of stuff going on with short staffing, not being able to get people. But what do you guys got going around? I read something about a cornhole tournament's going to be on or something like that. There's a lot of stuff going on around the festival itself.
Yeah, one of the things that I think working with Joe allows us to do. I mean, the concept here is that Joe takes over the racing and the competition aspect of it, and we handle all the stuff that's sort of on the ground in Rock Island.
Yeah,
which is setting up the track and all the other things that go into making the Rock Island race what it is. But I think that part of that is reaching out to spectators and getting them to stay and watch the racing, watching guys go around that they don't know who they are and they don't know what the sport is and all that. So people will do that for a while, and we're hoping to get more information out to them that will help them understand and appreciate the racing. But if you give them other things to do, that'll keep them down there even longer. So that's why we have vendors. We'll have bounce houses this year. We have the local professional hockey team is going to have a shoot the puck thing where they can, go in, and they're actually using street hockey balls. But we have the cornhole tournament that'll be going on, just off the side of the track. Just a lot. Oh, the clown club is coming out.
A couple of car clubs too, right?
And a couple of car clubs. We've for the last probably 4 or 5 years had the Camaro Club and a few other people that joined them who just wanted to be there. But this year we also added the Tesla Club, which I think if it was me, I'd come down just to talk to the people that own those cars and see what it's like to drive them.
Interesting.
So I think that's an opportunity to bring new faces down to watch and enjoy the racing too.
Joe, let's go, just because those maybe watching this trying to get some insight what's happening. Where are we going with class structure this year? Any major differences, major changes, major additions for this year?
Yeah, we've kind of cleaned up some of the classes that we're seeing in general decline. Not in terms of, it's not that they're not out there or they may not be relevant in certain areas. But we're obviously 206. There's a big focus on 206. It's so massive now in the sport. You can really do a lot with that platform. So we're seeing expansion. So there's 2 heavy classes, there's 2 medium classes, there's a master's class. Then you throw in the Ignite. So they've got 2 senior classes plus a master's. Obviously keeping the vintage stuff because not only is it cool, and not only because I feel like I'm vintage, but it's kind of one of those things. I know it, guys. When you see the KT100 is in a vintage class, you're like, man, this isn't a good thing.
That's
but,
right.
at any rate, we're not bringing the Yamaha back. We're not bringing the tag stuff back, because those things I don't think are, even if we could have gotten some of those entries back this year, I don't see that being a long-term focus. So we are bringing the KA back in. Obviously, KA numbers everywhere are monstrous. We're seeing, and I really do think that's going to be a pretty big. There's others in the group that don't believe me, but I really do think that this is going to be a good class. And I've heard guys out there going like, cool, like I'm glad there's a King 100 race. And I'm saying KA, but it also includes the rock version of that. It also includes the KT. So, you want to go for it, come on out. Obviously we've got the shifter classes as normal, focusing mostly probably on the KZ 175 stuff, but you can also run a rock. You can also run a Honda. So we're trying to make those, a little bit kind of come one, come all a little bit to a certain extent. And that's kind of where we're focusing. And I think, you and I talked in the last podcast, that's what we're seeing in a general movement in the sport. We're seeing 206, we're seeing KA, we're seeing shifter movements. The race and the schedule that we're doing and the class structure we're doing is kind of moving that direction as well.
We pause our face-to-face broadcast for this quick commercial break. Stay tuned for more here on the EKN Radio Network.
You want the best? You just gotta roll with the best. Streeter Superstands. This is Jeff Wessel from StreeterSuperstands.com. You wouldn't put subpar parts on your racing cart, so why put that cherished ride of yours on anything but karting's #1 lifts and stands, Streeter Superstands. Streeter is the original and genuine manufacturer of the second-to-none Bigfoot rolling stands, stackers, uprights, and industry-leading Superlift. We also manufacture and sell the largest and always growing roster of trailer and shop accessories like tire, engine and jug racks, cabinets, spray can trays, bead breakers, and tons more to outfit any size trailer, team, and budget. Streeter Superstands has over 30 continuous years of experience. We're kart racers just like you and know that the Streeter name represents the absolute best in stands, lifts, and accessories for karting enthusiasts worldwide. Durability, affordability, unmatched quality, and customer service, that's what sets us apart from the rest. Check us out now at StreeterSuperstands.com. Roll with the best, StreeterSuperstands.com.
There's a new hot button name in American safety equipment, Stilo USA. Every product with Stilo is focused on safety, comfort, and function. Stilo USA is happy to provide you with the proper safety apparel to keep you protected on the track, and their karting lineup is second to none. The ST5 KRT karting helmet is available for $599. Manufactured using a lightweight and extremely strong composite material, the KRT provides an excellent fit and comfort level due to its dual density interior foam lining, and it's equipped with a symmetrical visor that offers excellent vision and an effortless central visor locking system. The ST5 CMR standard was developed jointly by the FIA Institute and Snell Memorial Foundation to ensure safer and lighter weight helmets for the younger karters. Drivers rave about the superior comfort levels, lightweight construction, and the unparalleled field of vision. The perfect youth helmet is available for $549. Stilo didn't stop with their helmets either. The newly developed Carbon Curva Rib Protector is unlike any on the market, with its form-fitting solution to offer superior protection. Head to StiloHelmets.com to review these and many more products to keep you safe on the track. Stilo. Any competition, one helmet. Cometic Gasket is a leading worldwide supplier of gaskets and engine sealing solutions for karting, automotive performance, power sports, original equipment, and the remanufactured engine industries. Cometic karting gaskets are available as OE replacement top-end kits or as individual gaskets and seals. Just like competitive karters, Cometic can operate on the fly and has the unique capability to customize any gasket to meet specific engine requirements and clearances. All of Cometic's fiber materials are asbestos-free and do not require any additional sealants. Viton oil ring cylinder head seals are used in each 2-cycle kit, and Cometic's 4-cycle engine kits feature only the most advanced multi-layer steel head gaskets. Cometic can tailor to engine builder specific needs through bulk ordering and packaging flexibility. Kinetic gaskets are must-haves for championship-winning teams across multiple disciplines of both professional and amateur motorsports. Kinetic gasket, sealing championships since 1989. Welcome back to Face2Face on the EKN Radio Network. I like that. Roger, any other things that you think would be notable for those looking to potentially come to Rock Island this year?
No, I think, we talked, a big part of coming to Rock Island is the show and what you do when you're not racing too. A lot of guys, when they go to a kart race, they go out in a cornfield somewhere and they race and then they pack up and go home.
That's it.
And here you come down and you race through the city streets with thousands of spectators watching you. And then when you're done, you go out and have a good time. Not you, Rob, I know, but
No, not Rob.
Don't even start with me. Oh,
but part of the challenge is, as was noted earlier, is we have, I thought this would be a huge boost to downtown businesses this year who really need it. And as it turns out, I'm finding out that, a lot of them are either going to be on restricted hours or closed because they can't hire enough people to run the business.
wow.
So, we've had, the people that we normally work with for the nightly entertainment aren't doing it. So we have to find another option. And we, if the restaurants aren't closed, we're trying to see if we can, bring in some food trucks and things like that. So the people, the cool thing about racing here is you walk out the hotel room door and everything's within a block or two.
That's it. Yeah.
So that's what we're working on. And I don't have it in writing yet, but I just got off the phone with a guy who owns a local club that I thought was closed because of COVID, but apparently just reopened. 700 people he can handle, and they're going to do shows just for the Grand Prix weekend.
Really?
Dude, that's great.
So
I like it.
So it'll be interesting because it's a really different kind of place. They got all kinds of, it's like an amusement park indoors.
Yeah, interesting.
So including a mechanical bull, which I know we'd have Rob on if he was here. So
I don't know about that. I'm up there with Janowski in terms of being vintage right now, so I don't know if my body can handle it.
So hopefully that's going to handle the entertainment aspect of it and give people a place to go. And it's only a block from the hotel, so they can stumble home if they want to later. So
that's it. Well, listen, it's the Labor Day Classic, ladies and gentlemen. Those of you maybe tuning in for the first time, you're listening to the podcast or watching here on YouTube. And Joe can talk. We've talked about it. Roger, Joe, one of the great things about this race is it's not like, and I said this at the intro, right? It's not like a regular race. It's not one of those races where you go and you're there at 7:00 in the morning. You're on track at and then you bust your ass all day long and you're exhausted. It's kind of a more relaxed atmosphere, right? We haven't kind of touched yet on how what's the schedule going to be like? Is it similar to what it was in the past, where practice Saturday morning, qualifying, and then all we do is really run races. You do a warm up in the morning, and then you run the races in the afternoon. That was the past. Is that kind of what we're doing still?
Yeah, it's going to be a couple rounds of practice on Saturday morning, and Roger and I are beating around right now trying to figure out if we can do three rounds. People always come back and say they want more track time, but the reality of it is we all want some party time too.
That's the atmosphere.
And when you guys were talking, it's kind of like I'm going back in my head remembering, a lot of the stories. I know Roger doesn't necessarily want to hear this, but a lot of the stories that exist in the sport are about what happened on Saturday night at Rock Island, and then who's green in the morning on Sunday. And so, but those things take on kind of an epic, they build an event to a certain extent. Now, I'm not condoning any of that behavior. Everybody should go out and be good. But what I am saying is that's part of that intangible that Rock Island has always has. As a matter of fact, when we were first talking about doing this, it was one of the first things I asked Roger was are we going to be able to get that nightlife more re-engaged again? Because that's what people talk about. They're like, man, I really miss, going to Rock Island.
Travolta. Why did they retire?
I know.
All that kind of stuff, and so I'm glad to hear about this deal because, that's just part of what's important. So the racing ends Saturday afternoon in theory around 5:30, depending upon how things go during the day. And there's plenty of practice on Sunday morning. It doesn't start until 8:30. We run a few rounds of practice and then we race. So there's racing. So it's practice Saturday morning, racing all afternoon, practice early on Sunday, and then main events all afternoon.
I know that in 2006, I think I finished 5th in Tag Master, and I actually had Keith Freeber. Actually, he was my wrench. He was my mechanic for that. Yeah, I was driving the Brava, and at the end of the day, Keith is like, we could have did a lot better. But we wouldn't have been able to go out and do the Travoltas because I think we were kung fu fighting till about 1 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was. It was, but that's Rock Island, man. That's like
that is
literally you'd go to the band, whoever was playing, and there was a lot of locals there, but it was just carters screaming and singing and having a tremendous time, whether it was at the Daiquiri factory or whatever wherever we were. I think it was Bushwoods back then in the early 2000s. But man, that's part of Rock Island. It's not just about the hardcore competition. It's about the camaraderie off the racetrack as well. It's coming back to the hotel and trying not to go to the bar that's beside the hotel at the end to make sure you get to bed on time. It's amazing.
It's also the place where a lot of people will bring their families along. They'll bring their sponsors along.
Yeah.
The awards thing that most people stay for on Sunday night is just a chance for anybody who finished in almost whatever place there was to stand up and thank the people that, made their racing happen for them. So there's a lot of neat little things that, that I see that are just, special in different ways about Rock Island.
And let's cap with this, guys. We can talk whatever else you have, but let's cap with this. There's the IKF Duffy, there's the WK Eagle, and there's the Rock. Right.
Yeah.
And there's always I know Quincy's brought out their Gussie and there's other trophies, but the Rock is one of those trophies that, especially if you're from the Midwest, but that's one of the iconic trophies. We're talking 25 years or 26 years now with this race. That's one of the iconic trophies in the sport. No doubt about it.
I'll tell you a real quick story about that I don't think anybody's ever heard before, but
I like it.
We're standing on the street corner one day with Tom Argy Jr., who was our race director at the time. And I was explaining to him about how the city was going to tear up the street that is the whole front straightaway where the start-finish line and everything is. And he said, you ought to save some pieces of that concrete and give them away as trophies. And we didn't do that. We went out and found something that looked a little bit better and more presentable, but it still was a really neat idea.
All right.
And I'm glad we've had it, and a lot of people have treasured those over the years.
Well, I know that David Cole and I always go back to Matt Payway's speech when he didn't quite get it, but wanted to get that bleeping Rock, and eventually was able to win one. And again, to see the look on Matt's face when he won that Rock and was able to win that race, that I think that speaks volumes. I think a lot of people in this sport, you go all the way back to the late 1990s when guys like AJ Whistler won the 125 cc race, and Alan Rudolph and Bobby Wilson and Kyle Wiegand and Scotty Barnes. You see some of these guys that have won over the years, Jordan Musser and of course Race Liberanti, as you said. We're talking about a who's who of shifter kart racing over the last 20 years, and that's what the Rock is, right, Joe? You know that it has the legend status in our sport.
Hey, all the legends have run this race. Scott, you can keep going down a list, Rob, of guys that didn't win. Ron White, you've got Musgrave there. You've got Jake French, and I believe French is coming back. I mean, you can do a who's who in karting, and they've almost all been to the Rock at one point or another. And a lot of those guys have not gone home with trophies. I'm included in that. I do not have a Rock, and it's really frustrating.
Yep.
And tried a number of times, but man, there's just something about the race, and I'm feeling a good vibe there. I think it's going to be a good time. So it's a nice mix. It's a mix of good racing, good friendship, good camaraderie, and then on a great weekend. It's all the weather's usually really, knock on wood. I probably just jinxed it, but
yeah, but I listen. It rained the year I was there, and I flipping loved it. I ran the shifter in the rain. It was awesome. It was so much fun.
Actually, that place would be pretty good in the rain.
It's awesome in the rain.
For all those guys who've never won here, you can take solace in the fact that Graham Rahal finished 6th when he ran here.
That's right.
See?
Yeah, that's it.
you know.
But
So
listen, let's be real. It was also the springboard for Scott Speed to go to Formula One. Let's talk.
It was.
Absolutely. He
was
said
The
it was
Rock.
the best kart race he ever ran.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Guys, listen, let's wrap things up here right now. Again, just one of the iconic races, like we said. One of the beauties of it is when you do go to Rock Island, not only are you gonna have a great time, you're running against the best of the best, right? We talked about some of the shifter names. We're talking about, guys like, Gary Lawson, Tony Nielsen, Todd Bolton. Like, you throw the names of guys that run well there. That's always a tough place to go in and try to get the job done.
Yeah, some of those guys could build an addition on the house with all the rocks they have.
No doubt. Yeah. Tony Nielsen can do a foundation.
I think Tony Nielsen entered 9 classes already.
Yep.
Something like that.
Is he really?
That's insane.
Fantastic. I love it.
It's insane.
Absolutely amazing. Well, guys, listen, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. Again, just trying to educate. We have to do this quite a bit, right? Because we know the turnover we have in karting. There's people that came in the sport, 2, 3, 4 years ago that don't really know about the Rock Island Grand Prix. And I like the fact, Joe, that you're coming in, because with everything you've done, the experience you have, I'm sure that you'll take some of that pressure off of Roger and his crew to be able to really put on a tremendous race trackside wise.
And that's what we're looking for. Just a positive movement in a certain direction. Let those guys focus, boots on the ground where it's really important. And and we're pretty built now to handle a lot of the on track stuff. I mean, for example, I'll be having, I just recently acquired a track safety light system, predominantly for stars. But we're going to be bringing that up. So instead of a guy waving a flag, we've got nice bright LED caution and
nice.
green lights going. So hopefully I'm going to be able to bring in some new things that just make the race maybe a little bit better from the competition side and just keep this thing growing,
Let's get it. What I'll do, guys, if you're watching here on YouTube, I will put the link to registration down in the comments and in the overview of the race itself, of the show. What is the website, guys? I think it's a new website now, right? As well, is it racerockisland.com? Is that what it is now?
It's racerockisland.info.
.info?
Yeah,
Okay.
but the old address, rockislandgrandprix.com will still get you there too.
Yeah. Okay. So racerockisland.info. Of course, follow Rock Island Grand Prix on all the social media channels as well. Yep. Guys, once again, thank you so much. I know that, what are we, we're a month away, right?
Yeah.
It's getting close.
1 month, man.
Yeah, and,
right,
and let's not forget, for those who can't make it this year and want to find out more about what it's like, they can follow all the racing on eKarting News.
Yeah, we'll be streaming it on eKarting News. Of course, David Cole will be there trackside doing all the coverage throughout the weekend. I'm not able to make it this year, but I think my Labor Day weekends are going to be open for a while, which is nice. I'm planning on coming back in 2022. Roger, Joe, awesome. Thank you so much for joining me, guys.
Yeah, thanks, dude.
Thanks for having us.
We'll let these guys back in the studio. They can wait for me there. Guys, what a tremendous cap to the week. Thursday right now. A month away from the Rock Island Grand Prix. And as I said, I announced the event 15 times, I think, starting in 1999. It was actually, I think, one of my first paid gigs. Bobby Wilson's dad, Bob, actually gave me $100 to announce the shifter car races, which started me being there for the next 15 years, which was amazing. It is a bucket list race. If you've never gone to Rock Island and you've got the Labor Day weekend open, trust me, you are going to love it. Laid back atmosphere, but tremendous racing, a lot of fun. Cole and I try to race it every time we go, and that speaks volumes, I think. Anytime we're there, we try to figure out a way to drive. It's not an overly technical track, right? It's got 5 left-hand corners and 1 right-hand corner, but it's a ton of fun, and trust me, you will love it. Big thank you to Roger and Joe for joining us. Go on and check it out again. racerockisland.info or rockislandgrandprix.com still gets there. Follow them on social media and make sure you hook yourself up to go to the event, folks. It's a great one. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of Face to Face. My name's Rob Howden. Book it.